says, will you please tell us more about your community life and the cultural structures? Like, are there family units in separate housings, or is it more communal housing?
That's up to each family. In the New Earth Order, there tend to be, suppose you would use the word tribal communities. We don't use that word in our time, but there are communities that simply prefer to live on the same lands. And sometimes we share homes together and sometimes we don't, but there are a lot of communities that prefer to live on the same lands with each other.
Okay, thank you. How long do you live for, Chelsea? Do you still have disease in your time?
We do not have disease. And we have garnered a lot of scientific advancement from evolving in our consciousness. The UNO have garnered a lot of scientific advancement in medicine with uplifting through their AI technologies and through their intellect, through research. And we don't tend to have disease, but the RRO does still.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea. I have a question here from Diamond. What are considered gifts and abilities in your time, 2111, and how do they contribute to the New Earth experience?
We don't use the words gifts or abilities at all. It tends to divide and cause people to feel less or more special than each other. And we just don't tend to agree with that degree of division. We prefer the word talents. And we believe that everyone has at least one talent that can and should contribute to their community. Evolution spiritually is about service in the New Earth Order. So no one is so overtly concerned about self-love or self-service because there's no sense of lack in the New Earth Order. So.
Thank you. Do you have clean water and clean air in your time?
Yes, for the most part we do. We do have some issues that we're struggling with, a lesser capacity of the sun. But our soils are pure, our air is pure. We're not having so many struggles. Some parts of the world are having some struggles in the UNO, but we aren't. We also have access to living under a reflective geodome, which helps us gather the sun and the sun's rays more efficiently. And it's been a beautiful experience so far. We hear from our history books, we hear a lot about times of war from, your probably the next 20 years of your time beginning, and then up until around in the I believe 2090 was when a lot of those wars stopped.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea. I have a question here from Christine. Can you describe where you are and how you are transmitting this message?
This is a new way of transmission. Humans call it channeling, but we simply have learned that anyone can embody the essence of another being, and you're already familiar with this degree of communication.
Thank you.
It's not comfortable for me, however, as you probably have noticed.
Okay. Well, if you're not doing well at any stage, please let us know. Okay. What is Mother Earth like in your time? And does she have any messages for us?
Mother Earth speaks through plants, primarily, and the medicines therefrom. We are taught from children in the New Earth Order to speak to plants specifically because most of us have developed our telepathy. We are primarily telepathic, and the plants speak back to us in frequencies. And if we can listen appropriately, that would be transmitted into emotion code. I'm sure you're familiar with that, but it is highly evolved at this point, so that it can work instantly versus it going through your body. it goes through chakra systems, and you immediately receive a telepathic download of an emotion code, and then you feel the emotion. Then you can become the transmitter of information, but both the receiver and the transmitter of information from a plant. And this is how we would talk to Mother Earth, is opposed to considering Mother Earth a female being or a goddess or someone that we should worship or have this unusual communication with. We understand that Mother Earth is a part of every living being. And any living being can transmit light codes that turn into emotional frequency for us. And then we can understand that. And we do this by simple photosynthesis and just understanding photosynthesis of the plant, and then embodying the plant uniquely and asking for those unique vibrational keys. Remember, we all operate because of vibrational keys of consciousness. Therefore, we can all talk to Mother Earth through any living being, particularly plants, however.
Oh, that's very interesting. Thank you. I have a question here from Will, and he asks, in your future time, what have you learned about the origin of human beings on the planet? He says there's many theories in our time. Most of the information comes from channels. And he was just wondering, have you discovered material like evidence of origins, like fossils or records, evidence that how the Earth was terraformed?
Through the filters of the mind and the channel, we don't understand the word terraformed.
Okay, well, we'll leave that bit out. So he's just wondering, have you discovered any material evidence, like maybe fossil records, ancient technologies, or anything like that?
Of course we have.
Would you like to tell us about some of them?
We have discovered many fossils in the same way that you did, because in the great floods in your future, many fossils were left behind. We've discovered hundreds of human bones from various flooding. We've discovered mothers and daughters huddled together, things that, because of volcanoes. We've discovered exactly how many of you leave this earth, and our discoveries will not exactly give you a warm and fuzzy feeling. It's not likely something that you're going to want to know, but a lot of your race dies out, and it's self-destruction, and it's also political destructions. It's also just evolution. Survival of the fittest is how we would say that in science. And we are very scientific beings. Spirituality for you is very soft and emotional and about integration. Spirituality for us is about connection to plants, connection to vibration, and then eventually our emotions get involved, but they're not first and foremost. So we're a little bit afraid to hurt your feelings today. As the council and I sit together, we want to share science with you, but we also don't want to induce fear. Therefore, we encourage you to ask questions that evolve your consciousness beyond just what we can scientifically tell you about your demise, because there will be one. And we need you to understand that there are various densities. There are various experiences of Earth. And even though 1/3 density, primarily third dimensional version of Earth has this experience, and those are the fossils that we can bring to you, there are many, many experiences. And this is beyond the recollection or evidencing of your current scientists in your time. Therefore, anything that we find, we would have to lower our densities and understand your lower realms of science that are not as evolved as ours, and then try to have a meeting of the minds, if you will, when we are primarily operating in the fifth densities and fifth dimensional experiences. And from our experiences, yes, we find fossils of third dimensional past, but there were many that also evolved out of that. There was billions of people that died from third density experiencing and its natural effects, such as improper political climates, nuclear concerns, various political wars, destruction of Mother Earth as a whole, radiation, so much evidence that we found, but it wasn't as if humans completely died off. They evolved. Many died off and many evolved and became more aware of the truth of your species, which we're willing to discuss if you think that you can handle it. But you see, you're hanging on to a premise, and we've learned this by communicating with this channel on your behalf. We've learned that if we tell you the truth, that you are from the stars and only from the stars, and that humanity is a giant experiment, you will feel disempowered, fearful, and tampered with. But that is the truth. You are holding on to wanting to be the original human. And you haven't been an original human since the time of Lemuria. We don't want to break that to you, but it's just something that you need to be aware of when you ask these questions. So yes, we found much evidence, but primarily of third density demise. And we have found much beautiful evidence as well of just, we'd say currently about 50% of Earth reaches some sort of spiritual evolution to be able to evolve here with us in the future and to live happily as well. Again, many versions of Earth, and your science can't, it does not compute with them.
Thank you, Chelsea. That's an amazing answer.